Welcome back. This is Brighter Morning with Bo. I am Bo Tiwari, and I want to welcome you and thank you for viewing on MCTV. We have Minister Fitzgerald Hines, the Minister of National Security of Trinidad and Tobago, on the line, and we will talk to him now. Mr. Hines, good morning.
A very good morning to you, Dr. Tiwari. A very good morning to you and your viewers and listeners around the globe.
I want to thank you for coming on this morning. I know it has been an effort for you, and you made the effort. And I'm very grateful for that you would come and answer questions that are on the minds of people. Because you hold a very important portfolio, and these are uncertain times. And therefore, speaking to the issues and answering the questions that are on people's minds are very important here. And I want to thank you for that.
Let me welcome you back as well.
Go ahead.
Let me welcome you back as well.
Thank you.
And my presence this morning is testimony to our continuing commitment to the people of Trinidad and Tobago in their service, and of course to ensure that the facts and the truth are available at all times to them. Thank you.
Okay, and we will explore some of those issues this morning. Now, you know, the PSC, the Police Service Commission, has been central to a lot of the controversies that have developed in Trinidad and Tobago. And we've had a situation in which you might say that entire institution collapsed because of things that happened which eventually led to the resignation of every member of the commission. Then we've had court decisions which declared the appointment by the PSC of two separate acting commissioners, the former Commissioner Griffith and the current Deputy Commissioner, Mr. Jacob, null and void. And we have the unresolved attempts to reconstitute the PSC in Trinidad and Tobago so that we do not have a commissioner, and we do not have a commissioner of police who is installed, and we do not have the process which needs to be managed to cause that installation of a new commissioner able to be set in motion. Now, how would you describe the situation in the police service now, and what would you have to say to comments? And I saw some in the newspapers this morning. Some were by at least one member of the opposition, but more importantly, I think one was by a member of the police service themselves. Would you say that the situation in the police service of Trinidad and Tobago is well in hand, and that all is well, given all these problems that we have around the Police Service Commission and its consequences?
Well, let me bifurcate that. Let me dissect that into two elements.
Yeah.
From the standpoint of the management, the administration of the police service, meaning the Police Service Commission under our Constitution is responsible for the appointment of, the discipline of the Deputy Commissioner of Police and the offices of Deputy Commissioner of Police and that of Commissioner of Police. So to that extent, the Police Service Commission is engaged in the management of the police service. All other ranks are managed by the substantive Commissioner of Police or the acting Commissioner of Police when that is the case. Insofar as its management is concerned, the Minister of National Security directs to it the cabinet's or the government's policy by which it operates. Of course, it is overseen by the courts of law of Trinidad and Tobago. The Constitution and the law is another, I would say, management tool the police service has to observe in all of its doings. The Prime Minister put it best, in my view, when he says, notwithstanding the absence of a substantive commission of police, which I might add, existed in this country for long periods, even the period when the last acting commissioner was of the view, based on the appointment that has now proven to be null and void, the police service has been without an acting commissioner of commissioner of police. And that's not the first time in the country's history. But the Prime Minister put it best, as I said, when he said, notwithstanding all of that, inspectors will continue to inspect or inspecting, sergeants will continue sergeanting, and that means that all officers of the police service, imbued with the power vested in them by the Police Service Act, in accordance with the laws of Trinidad and Tobago, have lawful duties which the absence of a commissioner does not in any way impede or affect. Every single police officer of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, including special reserve officers who are appointed to those positions, carry with them the powers that are vested in them. So you will notice this morning there are police officers on patrol around Trinidad and Tobago. And if you go to police stations, you'll meet a police officer there, and they are bound by the law and their sworn duty to provide protection to you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. That continues apace.
All right.
That continues apace.
I will take you at your word there, but I'm going to probe it a little bit later on. But I want to ask you a question now, which has to do with the former Commissioner of Police. The Prime Minister has indicated publicly, and he has outlined some of the reasons that he has lost, that he 1 year ago lost confidence in the former Commissioner of Police. As far as you know, because you can't really speak for anyone else, do you, as far as you know, was the former minister, your predecessor, also in a situation where he had lost confidence with the then Commissioner of Police? And when you assumed the post of Minister of National Security, were you aware that the Prime Minister and possibly the former National Security Minister had lost confidence in this commissioner?
Well, as for the former Minister of National Security, I'm obliged to quote, I wish I could find a more Caribbean one, a quotation in support of my thought here. But it was Shakespeare who said that there is no art to find the mind's construction
in the face.
In one's face.
Yes.
So I can't vouch for what was in the mind of the former Minister of National Security.
Okay, I concede. Yeah.
But the Prime Minister has publicly and truthfully declared that over a year ago, he had reason to write to the Police Service Commission indicating that lack of confidence. And I, of course, as a member of the National Security Council, a member of the Cabinet, a member of Parliament, a citizen of Trinidad and Tobago, was aware of that fact. So to answer your question, I was mindful of that from the day it happened and subsequently.
Okay. Did that affect in any way your relation with the Commissioner of Police?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm a professional. I'm an attorney at law by profession, a barrister at law as well, having been called to the Bar of England sometime before being called in Trinidad and Tobago. And I am a member of Parliament for many, many years. And therefore, I have developed the art, the skill. Even before that, as an insurance salesman, I have developed this skill of understanding what professionalism is and what rising above what other people think and what other people say and operate in the realm of professionalism. So for the time that I worked directly with former Commissioner Griffith, I treated him with the respect and the courtesies and the professionalism that must exist insofar as relations between a Minister of National Security and a Commissioner of Police, and in fact, all police officers, the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief Fire Officer, all of the office holders, the permanent secretaries in my ministry, everyone who would have interfaced with this minister will tell you I operate in the realm of courtesy, dignity, and professionalism at all times. There's no exception.
Okay, now we are in a tricky stage of proceedings now, but I want to ask you this. Are we now at a stage where a new commissioners list without Mr. Griffith will be brought to the Parliament for debate and approval when a police service commission will have been appointed?
You make me feel like Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
How is that?
You are wanting me to tell the king his dreams and the interpretation thereof. I could hardly tell you what a newly constituted police service commission would do. I couldn't even tell you what it would look like. What I can tell you is that I sincerely admire the fact that given the circumstances as they have now developed, Her Excellency, who we honor and who we respect by virtue of her office and by virtue of her contribution as lawyer, as DPP, prosecutor, as judge, as Court of Appeal judge in this country, she acted rather promptly and has offered preferred names to the Parliament for our subsequent consideration in accordance with the Constitution of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And at some stage in the near future, I know those matters will be for our consideration in the Parliament, and thereafter a police service commission would be appointed and it will conduct its affairs in accordance with the Constitution as I have just posited.
Okay, so from your point of view, there have been problems with the merit lists. In the public domain is the fact that the Police Service Commission provided a merit list, then withdrew the merit list. Her Excellency, the President, wrote to the Police Service Commission expressing her reservations about certain things, and so on. The end result of all of that, do we have now a constitutional problem, or do we have a constitutional crisis, would you say, or is it just something that will be resolved simply by the bringing of a list to Parliament of the appointed members of the new service commission? Okay, you follow that question, which is that...
Yes, I do.
Yeah, will this matter simply be resolved by the appointment of new commissioners, or do we have a constitutional problem or a crisis here that we need to resolve?
I think we don't have any constitutional crisis. Remember, Mr. Dr. Tiwari, this country, and you were on the platform at the time, this country operated without a parliament for about 9 months when we could not elect a speaker, This country operated for about 6 years with Acting Commissioner Williams, as he then was, in the office of Police Commissioner,
That is true.
This country, just about 2 weeks before Mr. James Filbert as Acting Commissioner, just about 2 weeks before his term of office officially ended, the then government, led by Madam Kamla Prasad Bisesa, tossed him out of office, We have had that before. There is no constitutional crisis. What you saw in the parliament recently was a different interpretation of the constitution, one by the speaker, which I see in today's papers that, for what it is worth, Senior Counsel Ramesh Lawrence Maraj agrees with. But most importantly, which Madam Justice Nadia Kangaloo, acting on behalf of the judiciary and by extension the people of Trinidad and Tobago in the courthouse, so to speak, upheld, you had one interpretation of the Constitution as espoused by the Speaker, and you had a number of other interpretations, one of which was espoused by Senior Counsel, self-appointed as she is, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, which did not find favor with the court. And therefore she, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, is attempting to create this muddle, this murkiness, this cloud, this constitutional crisis where none exists. It is simply that she had a view of the Constitution, and her view is hardly a valid view as far as I'm concerned, because she gets it wrong over and over and over and over. And what she wanted in the parliament, leading her noisy and scandalous colleagues who demeaned and denigrated our parliament, was to bring the office of presidency into scandal and disrepute. And I am proud that the president remained astutely above that. And so too did the prime minister. And so too did those of us with better judgment in the parliament on that fateful day, the PNM, every one of us, and most of all, the speaker, supported by the clerk of the house. We upheld the dignity and the value of the parliament as we are mandated to do under the Constitution, sworn to uphold the Constitution and the law, and to follow the standing orders with which you are very familiar. We did that rather proudly, and that should demonstrate to you that in Trinidad and Tobago, all is not lost.
Okay, I understand you're taking the position that there is no constitutional crisis,
Absolutely
but we have a river to cross, and that we will cross it. We will see as time unfolds. Minister, I've got to take a break now, but I want to alert you to the question I'm going to ask when we come back, because I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the authority of leadership in the police service now that we only have a deputy commissioner in charge. Not to undermine or challenge his authority, but that is the reality. And secondly, I want to talk about the issue of morale, because I came back yesterday evening, and when I looked at the papers this morning, I can see a significant amount of criminal activity recorded in the newspapers. So I'm going to put that to you when we come back. So we're going to take a break now for commercials.
Welcome to Lifetime Solutions, where you can trust your roof to us. Our services include custom fabrication, steel framing, roofing installation, on-site roll forming, roofing maintenance and services. Call 223-ROOF or 223-7663 for a quote today, or visit our website www.lifetimesolutionstt.com. Lifetime Solutions. You can trust your roof to us. Call 223-ROOF or 223-7663 for a quote today, or visit our website www.lifetimesolutionstt.com.
As we celebrate the festival of light over darkness, let Magic Mist Services Limited take away the hassle of your Diwali home cleaning and maintenance needs. With our team of professional service team members, we will ensure your home receives the magic touch. Give us a call today at 638-6675 or 332-5522. Shub Diwali from Magic Mist Services Limited.
You did the right thing. So now we're giving you things. Republic Bank thanks you and wants to reward you for getting vaxxed. Win $5,000 in prizes every week, plus one of 2 cars in December. You took care of your health, and now we're taking care of you. $5,000 and a chance to win a car. See press and log on to republictt.com for details.
Mangalis Trading Company Limited. Specialist in PVC ceiling, gypsum ceiling, suspended ceilings, medallions, lights, metal framings, and SPCS flooring, known as vinyl plank. Now introducing Mangalis Foods, wholesale and retail, distributor of the family brand food items. Our range of products include rice, sugar, chickpeas, split peas, and soybean oil. Mangalis Foods deliver exceptional products. We offer timely and efficient service. We are located at 9 Francis Lala Road, Charlieville, Chaguanas. Contact us at 672-9889, 740-5569, or 336-4373. Mangalis Trading Company Limited.
Welcome back to Brighter Morning with Bo. I am Bo Tiwari. We are on MCTV, Multicultural TV, and our guest this morning is the Minister of National Security of Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. Fitzgerald Hines. Yes, so before the break, I was asking you this question. You say there's no constitutional crisis and there's no constitutional problem, and we're going to cross the river with this, and we are going to be back to normal. But what do you say about not having a commissioner or acting commissioner of police and having instead a deputy commissioner? And what does that say for the authority of the leadership of the police service? What does that say for the morale of the men and women, the officers of the police service? And how does that affect the capacity of the police service to cohere and to deliver the service that is required at this very difficult time in Trinidad and Tobago?
2 separate questions you have put there, 2 very useful and sensible questions. Insofar as the acting position is concerned, Mr. Jacob, a substantively appointed Deputy Commissioner of Police, once his acting appointment was as well nullified by the court, he reverted to his substantive position as Deputy Commissioner of Police. And of course, he is the de facto Commissioner of Police. When the former acting commissioner, so to speak, went out of the jurisdiction, it was Mr. Jacob who held the fort. And he was the de facto Commissioner of Police and executed his duties in terms, executed them accordingly. Today, he is vested in the clothing of Deputy Commissioner of Police, and he is the de facto Commissioner of Police, and he is executing his duties as de facto Commissioner of Police accordingly and in terms. The issue, insofar as the authority is concerned, there are some laws and some regulations that require the commissioner in particular to treat with. That being absent, the Office of the Attorney General is apprised of those issues, and I am confident in short order will address those issues. For example, in terms of the firearms registry and licensing and certain other things, those matters are being and will be addressed. So that is on the one side. Insofar as morale is concerned, the morale of the police service does not hinge so directly on whether the Commissioner of Police is in the country or out, whether he is acting acting as commissioner or substantively appointed. For my own part, as a citizen with access to the police service as I have had, as a former police officer, former police instructor myself, every individual police officer, as I told you earlier, has powers under the law and with the resources to treat with matters on an ongoing and daily basis. His morale is not hinged on whether there's an acting commissioner or not. It is hinged on other things, general things, management things, his personal sentiments, his personal value of his duty, his office, his authority as a police commissioner, his personal will to stand up against what is wrong, his courage to take risk as a police officer must in situation after situation to protect the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I am no management expert, no human resource expert, but I'm sufficiently aware that morale depends on those things, quite distinct, because we've had some heroic behavior on the part of police officers who have taken great risk, put their lives on the line. The commissioner was nowhere about. When a police officer goes on patrol 2, 3 in the morning, he and 2 other officers or whoever, or is manning a station or a guard post somewhere, the commissioner is nowhere about. But he has a duty under law to perform. And as I said, his morale rests on all of those issues, and management issues, the conditions under which he has to work, yes, the terms and conditions of his service, but most of all, his duty to respect himself as a man, as a woman, to respect his office. When I was a police officer, I can tell you there was almost tangible pride. Walked with my chin up, shoulders square to the front, impeccable kit in uniform, because we believed we were trained for a profession, for a service, and we gave it diligently. That is what morale is all about, especially in a situation where in Trinidad and Tobago, criminals are getting more brazen by the hour. We have police officers who have stood out over the years fighting crime, some well known to the public and most not. I can tell you hundreds, thousands of very heroic efforts, and every police officer will tell you some of the sacrifices they make in order to carry out their duty, the courage it takes when they're getting threats from criminals, sometimes living in their own neighborhoods. And when they are detailed to go and look for the criminal, when you, Dr. Tiwari, and others cringe and run from the criminals, the police officer has to go to find them and to bring them to justice. A tremendous office, a tremendous responsibility. And that is what the police officers live by, and that is what we want to see them continue to live by. And where that is not in existence or lacking, training, professionalism, motivation, inspiration is what brings that, especially in high crime season where there are so many low-hanging fruit, if I might use that metaphor. You don't have to go and look for crime. It's all in front of you. A host of illegal guns all over the place, physical things, intelligence-driven, data-driven, as Mr. Jacob espouses. They can organize themselves, continue to pursue these things called guns, take them out of the illegal hands, out of the hands of criminals, and that way sanitize the country, making it a safer and a better place. That's the vision, and that's what the police officers are set out to do.
You've raised the issue of crime and criminality, and I mean, you didn't raise the issue of gangs, but that is always a factor in the back of our head. Do criminals and gangs and gang members and those driven to criminality, are they seeing what is happening now with the Police Service Commission, the no Commissioner of Police, etc., hiatus in the developments in this area? Are they seeing this now as an opportunity to take advantage of? And as Minister of National Security, how will you manage this situation? Let's say all the things that you are saying are true, but what I am suggesting that the criminals are thinking might also be true. How do you manage this situation as Minister of National Security?
Well, my responsibility is a very simple one, to dispense the government's policy, which we shape in the cabinet, in the generality, on one issue to the next. We have different approaches to different things. My responsibility is to convey clearly to the police service and all the other divisions of national security what the government's policy is. And in respect of crime, it is to substantially reduce the burdens of crime that are set upon our citizens by some of us and visitors to this country, because we are not unaware that we have visitors here who get involved in criminal activity as well. So it is as easy as that. Secondly, it is, as we have done recently through budgetary allocations, to provide the financial resources so that the police service and all the other divisions of national security can, as best as the country can at this time afford, because that is always a constraint, receive the resources they need in order to carry out those duties and functions that we expect of them. That's my responsibility. The rest is up to the de facto Commissioner of Police, his executive, his senior and middle ranks, and up to every single man and woman sworn and paid as police officers to carry out their duty in an honest, professional, fearless manner in the protection of and the service of the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I myself, whenever I interface with them, last week I was invited by the Northeastern Division of the Police Service as they launched a pre-Christmas program in anticipation of the statistical revelations that at Christmas time they see an increase in certain kinds of illegalities and activities. They launched a well thought out program in order to respond to that. I was invited, I issued remarks to them, I commended them on that, and that continues. I received an invitation only yesterday from the head of the municipal police, who, in conjunction with the national police, work very, very hard to protect the burgesses of the city of Port of Spain in this case, and they are launching their pre-Christmas anti-crime protection of the citizen efforts, along with and in collaboration with the business community. As soon as I return to Trinidad and Tobago, I will join them in that, and the show goes on. That's the responsibility.
Minister, I've got to wrap up shortly, but I want to make a little comment here, and I will give you the last word on it, and then we will break for the news. And it is this: the Commissioner of Police is actually recognized, the post of Commissioner of Police is actually recognized in the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago. And the second thing is that in this particular situation, the Minister of Finance had to do certain things to make the Deputy Commissioner the accounting officer of the police service. So there might not be a crisis from your point of view, or a constitutional crisis, but there is a problem. And maybe all the things that you are saying is true, but the crime also is an issue. And we can see a certain assertiveness on the part of criminals and their criminal behavior. This would be something that is concerning to the population. Give us some comfort as you make your final statement as we break for the news.
Well, yes, you're quite right. The Commissioner of Police, responsible for Head 64 in the national budget, is the accounting officer. When this situation developed, with the emphasis on the word developed, nobody planned all of this. It happened. And once it happened, the Minister of Finance, quite properly, under the guidance of the Prime Minister and the Cabinet, he went to the law and he had the necessary appointment made. And you are quite right, Mr. Jacob, MacDonald Jacob, Deputy Commissioner of Police, has now been clothed with, invested with the authority as the accounting officer for the police service, so that matter was immediately resolved. I maintain as I close that I am confident that under his experienced leadership and given the demands of the society and given the level of motivation that we expect from every single police officer in this situation, that they will continue to do their work and they will improve as they go along. For our part as government, we'll provide them with resources, training, equipment, the tools, exposure abroad to other jurisdictions, and we are confident that they will be on the job and perform it in the manner that will bring safety and security to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I thank you.
Minister, thank you very much for being on Brighter Morning with Bo this morning with me. And I thank you for the conversation and the candidness of our exchange. And we break now for the news.